Welcome guys. Today we are going to run our Spring Boot application and do some testing to make sure everything is running fine. So the first thing that I always like to do is to clean the application to make sure that there is nothing. Then I go and I click on install. You click on install. It's gonna take some few seconds before it install everything fine, and from there you can also check some few information about what it's doing. So basically it has completed to build, and it says it built successfully, which is good. So now we are checking the test run 1, failure 0, error 0, which is perfect. Then also let's also check some few information about the application. So what I'm looking for here, it is if it was able to make a connection with the database. Of course it did, because it built successfully. And like you can see, you can see those, that's mean it was able to talk to our MySQL database and make connection, and also now they are able to communicate. The API, the Spring Boot application and MySQL database are now able to communicate. The connection has been made successfully, which is great. So now the next step will be to run this application. Let's run it. So when we run, if everything works like expected, so yes, it is working fine. You see those are the comments that I put here, and which means it is okay. You don't see the fourth one because this is an error log. So as there is no error, this one will not show, but this is just to show you those three are working from here. So that means our application is working properly. So let's now make sure by running some few tests. Let's go to our Postman. We are in Postman here. The first thing that you need to see if it is able to sign in a user that is already inserted into our database. If you remember from our database, let's just check the users that are in the database. In our database, we only have 3 users. We have an admin user, we have the moderator user, and we have the common user. For this, to make this video short, we are just going to check with the admin user, and I already demonstrated how this user got linked with the user role, with the role that are here. This is the table which makes, I think, many-to-many relationship between the role table and the user table. So this relationship between those two tables are defined into this table here, and this is how our admin user has the admin privilege, and this is the one that we are going to check. But you can also do the same for the moderator user or the common user. Okay, let's go back. So basically this is just Postman, but I already arranged all the operation based on the user here. This folder define the operation of an admin user. So first and foremost, what I did earlier is I first posted this request. Sorry, it does it all the time. I first posted this request with requesting an admin role for this user. This is why you see here this one here. This is how I defined it. Oh, sorry guys. I define it here because I make the request. I first make that first request, and I requested a role as a role to be an admin. This is going to be his password 123456789, and the email used for that. You can create any kind of email, it doesn't matter. And basically I requested that user to have an admin role. So we already have those information into database. So now what we supposed to be able to do is, with this user, we're supposed to be able to sign in into the application. And to sign in, I define another request here with the username and password. And if you remember, this is what you require for any user to be able to log in. Use the username and password, and this one is defined on the sign in. If you go back to the IntelliJ, we go back to Auth Controller, is defined here on the sign in. Let me close this, we don't need that now. Is defined on the sign in method. The sign in method help you to log in based on the username and the password. So if we go back to our so based on the username and password, and the database has already have the information about that particular user, and should be able to retrieve the information of that user based on his role. So I did a lot of tests of talking just to explain what should happen. So now let's just choose our environment. We are using our local environment. If you guys are not familiar with this, the only thing that you need to understand from that is it will trigger localhost 808. So basically, because our application is running on our local host, right? Let me show you either quick. So if we go up here, I just want you to see where our application is running, the port where our application is running. There is too much information to check. But okay, right here, you see this is the port. It uses Tomcat started on port 88 and 8080, and basically this is our local environment. So now what you also need to see, it is to do that you just need to set this environment on the environment table tab of your Postman, and this is where I define. You see the local is defined here with the base URL, which is supposed to be http localhost 88. So that is easier, so that now whenever I want to use that base URL, I just need to define it here. You see, initially it is that this is the current value of that base URL, and then I just add the rest of the URL to be able to point to our endpoint. This is the endpoint that is going to point to. And also don't forget, it is defined in the request mapping. So the request mapping, we have API auth sign in. Okay, so if we go back, this is what we are going to see. API auth sign in. Good. So we have the full URL here. The next thing that we need to do is just to sign in. I just send the request, and as expected, we have our user here with his email. The role, it is role admin. The access token is defined. Like I said, we are using JSON Web Token for security, and the bearer is there. The token type is there, so which is good, meaning now we just log in into our application as a super user, basically an admin user. And as we are able now to sign in into our application as a admin user, we can now do some operation. Let's say for instance I want to see, the list of all users. Okay, only admin can do such operation. This is it follow the same logic. Okay, is pointing to that endpoint which is defined into the Spring Boot application. So we just click on send. We should be able to see all the users. You see we have admin, we can see the admin user, we can see the role moderator user, we can also see the role user. Yeah, because basically as we sign in as admin, those are kind of operation that only an admin can do. Okay, so if you are not an admin, you cannot see those information, you cannot trigger those information, which is really good. And those are all the operations that you can do. You can also check an operation by ID. You can update information, the information of a user here. You can do a lot of operation. You can also delete. Only an admin can delete a user, and this is really good, right? Okay, the next things before I close it is to add a tutorial, because I believe only a user, super user, meaning admin, can add a tutorial. Let's go to tutorial. Let's try to create a new tutorial. Okay, so before I create a new tutorial, first let's check what are the tutorial inside the database. If we go here, let's select that query and run it. So okay, currently on the database that we are using, we only have one tutorial with this description, publish 0, and with this title, test 1 book. Okay, great. So this is all that we have into that table. So now what we are going to do is to create another tutorial book. Let's put it for instance this test as book, test 2 book, test 2 book description. Okay, so basically I just created a new tutorial with the title test 2 book and test 2 book description. So let me also put Java this time, book Java. Okay, book Java, test 2 book, let me put Java. Okay, so now let me send. This tutorial has been successfully added. We publish as fast. Okay, so now if we go back again into, if we first going to retrieve find all published book again, I think find all tutorial which we've not. Okay, let's use this one instead. Let's see all the books that are inside the database now. Let's send it. Oh, sorry. Let's send it. Did I work on this one? This is not the. I think retrieve by ID, retrieve all tutorial. Okay, this is the one that we need to use. Sorry. Retrieve all tutorial. Let's see now all the books, all tutorial. Let's send. Great. We are now able to see all the book inside the database. So basically, we first had this first book that was already inside, and the second book, which was defined earlier by us, it is now inside there. And if you check again from the database side, you can just click on select from. Let's see. You see now you have two books, text2 book Java, text2 book Java, which is great, which is really great. So meaning our database connection plus our Spring Boot application are working successfully. And there is various operations that you can use, but for us, we are going to stop there, because basically I think the most important thing has been verified. Now we can move to the next step, and thank you so much for watching, and see you next time for the next video. Bye bye.